Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shannon Register, and usually we're talking to you about real estate, but this week we're taking a break from real estate. It's a holiday weekend. We are talking about a national crisis that exists in our country. I want to make sure that you're aware of it because this is a crisis that is among all age groups and all people. If you're human, it affects you. It does not discriminate against cultures. It's everywhere. And it's not just in the United States, it's around the world. But we have an upswing in suicide in our nation. We are year after year having more suicides instead of fewer suicides, which is certainly, and the really bad thing is that it can be prevented. So we're talking about it today to help raise awareness. This Labor Day weekend kicks off Suicide Prevention Week, and we also, September is Suicide Prevention Month. So I'm doing this show today for a couple of reasons. One, we want to get a phone number out there that can help you. And you may be saying, well, I don't need that phone number. Just remember how to get to the phone number. So if you ever need it, you can. It's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It is anonymous help. It's answered by a group of people in New York who do an amazing job. You heard from them earlier in the show. That number is 1-800-273-8255. Anyone can call this number anonymously any day, any night, anytime. They're open on Christmas. They're always there. And this is for everyone. If you are a veteran, you can press 1 to talk to people who are experienced in talking with veterans. A lot of them are veterans themselves. But anybody, children, everyone, anybody can call that number. If you missed that number, it's 1-800-273-8255. It will be on the videos that we put out on the website today. We'll also put it out on our Facebook page. There's also an app that I want to make sure you know about it if you live in Harris County. The Harris County, it's I Watch Harris is the app. You can give anonymous tips through that app. So if you're someone who's heard that someone, if you're a student in school and you hear that someone brought a gun to school, or you hear that someone, is using drugs and their parents don't know about it and you're worried about them, or if you've heard someone may have suicidal issues, you can go to this app to the school district campus police and anonymously leave tips as well if you don't want to call the 800 number. HBO did a great documentary. If you haven't seen this documentary, you can just Google HBO documentary crisis hotline and it will come up. I watched the show. It's about 40 minutes long. Have your tissue box ready. It's an amazing documentary of what these people at this suicide hotline do. There's some amazing people in New York who answer the calls, and they literally save lives. They're so patient. They're so good on the phone, listening to how they talk to people, how calm they are, and what they're able to do for people all over the country 24/7. It's just amazing. I hope you'll go out and watch it because it absolutely is amazing. The second reason we're doing the show, so number 1 is to get the number out there. Number 2 is to raise awareness. Our country has the best mental health on the planet, and yet for our 10 to 14-year-old students, it's the 3rd leading cause of death. For 15 to 24-year-olds, it's the 2nd leading cause of death. We are losing, on average, 22 veterans a day to suicide. The rate of suicide in our country is obviously on the upswing, and that's why we're talking about it. We have to do something about it. It's preventable, but you cannot keep anyone from doing it. So the best way to prevent it is to give them reasons to live. You don't know whether you are someone's reason to live or not. So I've got Bettina and Wayne Tack here in the studio with me. Bettina is one of my realtors over at Register Real Estate Advisors. She and her husband have agreed to join me today to talk about a tragedy that's happened in their lives. Just a few weeks ago, they tragically lost their son, Dustin, to suicide. And, I can't even imagine what they've gone through, but I know this has affected not only their family, not only their friends, not only their Boy Scout troops, not only their school. It's impacted the entire community. And so often I think that people who are contemplating suicide do not know the depth of what they're going to do, how it will affect all the people around them, not just those closest to them, but all the people around them. We don't even realize how plugged in we are to this world and to our community. But we are all plugged in. We are all connected. And even more so now with social media. So we are talking about raising awareness of suicide and the damage that it does to everyone. And that's why we want to prevent it. That's why we want to raise awareness. So I appreciate you guys coming on. I know this is difficult for you, but I appreciate you coming on to help raise awareness. What do you want to share with us about what you've experienced?
It's been hard. The one thing that we really would like to get out there is if anybody tells you anything, it's I don't want to say it's an obligation, but if you want to keep your friend, you have to tell somebody. Don't hold it in. Don't let your friend die, because. Like she said, my son, he was so plugged into this community, not just this community, but the community that we left in Phoenix. He had friends like you wouldn't believe. And this took us by storm. We had no idea that he was even contemplating this. And after he died, after he killed himself, we found out that he'd actually tried 3 times before. But I would rather lose the trust of my friend than lose my friend.
Yes. And
it's an outcry for help.
Yes.
Even though they say don't do anything about it, in actuality, when somebody tells you something like this, even though they don't realize it themselves, it is the biggest outcry for help.
We are, one of the reasons we're doing the show is to raise awareness of suicide prevention, because this is just as important as cancer.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
huge in our country right now. It's so important.
I mean, cancer, it gets diagnosed and it gets worked on, and there's research and there's this and that. With suicide, it just happens. Mm-hmm. A lot of people never even see any signs, or it's just
it's devastating. It truly feels like our life has been ripped apart. Our children, we have 3 other children. We all feel like
he was our 2 younger boys. He was their role model, their hero. They wanted to do everything just like him. Mm-hmm. Our daughter and he were 3 years apart. They were best friends. They fought like cats and dogs, but they were best friends.
And he is not what you would think of. He was good in school.
He was loving, caring. He belonged to the Boy Scouts. He was actually a couple merit badges away from getting his Eagle Scout.
Wow.
We just bought him a truck, what he wanted. They wanted to work on it together and rebuild it.
So he had future plans.
Absolutely.
He had a bright future.
We were looking at colleges. I mean,
correct.
We were starting, and he was worried about the money. And I told him, look, don't worry about the money for college. You do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And it just took us all by storm. I mean, the new truck. He loved to longboard. He would go out and longboard all the time. He
was downloading new games on a computer at the same time. Seriously. Where is there a sign? If we're beyond grief-stricken, and we thought we talk to our children all the time. We are aware what's going on in school. Never been anywhere close to drugs or party crowd or anything.
Yeah, he wasn't on drugs, wasn't drinking. No. He made good grades.
Yes.
Great grades. The kid was smart.
He wasn't in danger of dropping out.
No.
None of the classic signs of anything.
Which is really scary because we talked about the signs earlier with the counselor from Klein ISD, and what's really scary is your son didn't have those signs.
Correct.
You just came back from family vacation. He was happy. I saw a video of him singing happy.
Oh my God.
Happy.
He rode his skateboard at Sturgis, and he told me, "Dad, this is the best event you have ever brought me to."
Yeah. Just a week and a half before.
And if those of you that don't know, Sturgis is the biggest bike rally in the world, and he was turning heads there. I mean, there were girls coming up to him asking him, "Hey, is that your skateboard?" And he had a great time. We had a great vacation. They're friends. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Right.
Friends don't let friends commit suicide.
What's so scary is you had no signs, and he didn't fit the profile for doing this.
Correct.
But yet he had tried it before.
That's what we got out of the stream of text, that he'd actually tried 3 times before. That was a sign. That was a huge sign.
Yeah.
That was a scream for help. And
nobody caught it.
And nobody did anything.
Yeah. Well, it's a huge loss. I know Klein Collins High School, they dedicated their summer orchestra concert in his memory, and your daughter played in that, was able to be a part of that. So that's an amazing thing that they were able to do for you. If you watch the HBO or the HBO 40-minute documentary, you'll see how the hotline works. It is an anonymous hotline. You can call and give information. If you're a mother out there and you've got a 40-year-old son and he calls you and he's drinking and he's saying, I really don't want to live anymore. I want to give up. As a mom, you pick up the phone, you call this national hotline. They will send police out to that house. They have police who specialize in this. They will go and try to prevent it, and they never even know that you called. I mean, they may figure it out, but it's anonymous if you want it to be anonymous. And if you don't want to be anonymous, they'll plug you into a healthcare facility that can help you.
Right.
So.
And it doesn't have to be just the moms. Anybody.
Any age, anybody. And sometimes, you go through life and some you have 10 years of a great life, and all of a sudden a string of bad things happen, and you don't have a reason to live anymore, and you may need this number,
Right.
And all you have to do is Google, National Suicide Hotline. It's the big number that pops up, National Suicide Hotline. That's all you have to remember. So it could save your life. It could save the life of someone else. So as we kick off Suicide Prevention Week, just want you to stay mindful of that. You may be the prevention for someone. You may be the cure for someone. You just don't know. We're all plugged into this community together.
Yes.
Correct. And please share.
Yes. And we're going to put this out on Facebook. I know y'all are going to be sharing it. We're going to be sharing it. Everybody share it. Everybody share it. Yes. Unfortunately, mental health a lot of time is hereditary. So for some people, in previous generations, they've seen suicide, and they need to be aware of that.
Right.
It can happen. So, all right. Hopefully, we have raised awareness today. I appreciate you, both of you, coming on to talk about your son's death and how it's affected your lives and the lives of your children. We've heard from a lot of great folks that are out there working to prevent suicide in our country. And you can find all the videos of today's show at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com. We appreciate you listening, and I hope that you enjoy your Labor Day weekend.